Hello everyone, this will be my recap of the third season of You. Alright, let's go. The third season picks off right at the end of the second season, where Joe and Love have moved in together, in the very fancy suburbs of Madre Linda. And of course, Joe being Joe, he already started preying on his neighbor Natalie Engler, whose husband Matthew is a multi-millionaire who's rarely ever home.
What are the odds of that?
Natalie then takes it upon herself to seduce Joe, but Joe actually stops himself from doing anything with Natalie for two reasons. The first is that he realized that he needs to be there for his son Henry, and yeah, unfortunately for Joe, he had a son. The only reason why he didn't want a son is because he was afraid his son would turn out the way he did. Anyways, the second reason is that Joe realizes that he's married to the impulsive Love Quinn, meaning that if Love ever finds out about Natalie, Natalie becomes a hashtag. And unfortunately for Natalie, Love found out. Love then uses Natalie's help to open up a bakery and immediately unalives Natalie. This sets into motion a series of unfortunate events. You see, Joe helps cover up Natalie's murder by making it look like she left Matthew, which is completely plausible because not only is Matthew never around, but Natalie constantly cheats on him. But for some reason, Matthew did not want to hear any of that. Instead, he sets out on a mission to find out what happened to Natalie. And while that's happening, Henry gets sick with the measles, that he got because one of their neighbors, Gil, doesn't believe in vaccines. And unfortunately for Gil, Love found out and put him in a box under her bakery, a fresh tart. Get it? Because it's like a fresh start, but like tart because it's baking. Yeah, okay. Anyways, after being held in that box for a few days, Gil unfortunately unalives himself when he finds out that his wife has been bribing people and his son has been forcing people to wrestle naked with him. Gil's misadventure turns out to be a very good thing for Joe and Love, because they just made it look like Gil murdered Natalie and then logged out of life afterwards. But for some reason, Matthew did not want to believe any of that. So he hacks all the cameras in Madre Linda so he can find out what really happened to Natalie. And while he's doing that, his son Theo has been visiting, and he immediately falls in love with Love. Love also falls for Theo, who's been giving her all the attention that she wanted from Joe. But Joe couldn't care less because he's now in love with his boss Marianne from the library. And with Love being distracted with Theo, he gets to be distracted with Marianne. Unfortunately, their marriage has been falling apart, so Love suggests that they open their marriage. This is all thanks to Love's new best friend and probably the most annoying person in this season, Sherry. Since Sherry and her husband Carrie have had an open marriage, Love thought it was a good idea. And the first step to having this open marriage is for Love and Joe to have a 2-on-2 tag team wrestling session with Sherry and Carrie.
And then everything fell apart.
Exactly, because when Sherry and Joe were going at it, Love realizes that there's another woman that Joe is obsessing over. She then blurts out that she's never good enough for Joe even after killing Natalie for him.
You shouldn't have said that.
Unfortunately, both Sherry and Carrie heard the confession, so both Joe and Love put them both in the cage under the bakery. Joe basically goes,
I have to kill her in less than a week.
And tells Marianne that he's leaving Love so the two of them can be together. But Marianne's ex, Ryan, is constantly making Marianne look like a bad mother, and is constantly trying to take Marianne's daughter away from her. And that means Joe's gonna take it upon himself to put Ryan to sleep, which is exactly what he does. That being Joe's first kill of the season upsets Love, because Joe saw it to be no problem killing for Marianne, but is constantly mad at Love when Love kills for him.
Well, she has a point.
Theo then finds out that Joe has something to do with Natalie's disappearance, but thinking with the wrong head and believing that Love is a victim in all of this, goes and tells Love exactly what he knows. Love then whacks him in the head believing that he's dead. He then has Joe dispose of the body, but before he can do so, he realizes that Theo is alive and takes him to the hospital, which finally brings us to the most nerve-wracking dinner of the series. See, at this point, Joe knows that Love killed her previous husband, and Love knows that Joe wants to kill her. So Love paralyzes Joe by putting the drug on the handle of the knife.
Now, you don't have to worry. This time I'm letting it absorb through the skin.
Oh, no. No.
Do I need to point out that none of this would be happening if you hadn't grabbed a weapon?
I'm afraid she has a point.
She then ties him up and calls Marianne over, and reveals to Marianne that Joe is a bad person and she should get away from him if possible. Marianne then packs her things and leaves never to be seen again, at least in season 3. Joe somehow predicted that he was going to be paralyzed beforehand and shot himself with adrenaline before being paralyzed. He then quickly and painfully kills Love and burns the house down, making it look like both him and Love died. He even wrote a suicide note in the perspective of Love, tying up all the loose ends. Joe then gives Henry away to a coworker of his by the name of Dante, who has been trying to adopt a kid but couldn't. The season then ends with Joe moving away to France in search of Marianne. And yeah, I hope I answered all of your questions, but if I didn't, be sure to leave a comment. Also, if you liked that video, leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you want to know more about all of Joe's mishaps and how he met love in the first place, you can watch this video that covers season 1 and season 2. That's it.